Okay, we're live. Thanks for watching. My name's Steve Jaguar, and this is another BeerNative beer review. Let's go. It's hot if you're in the UK. It's so hot that I've got a hat on all day because I was walking around outside, and it was like 5 seconds outside, and I got shot on my face, and I was like burning. I'm not even really balding up there, but I just felt like I was going to get heat stroke. But I have another perfect beer because it was really hot yesterday, and I did let's take a look. I had it up on the screen 2 seconds ago with my overlay. Yeah. A late summer, and it is perfectly appropriate. They couldn't have known this when they made it. A late summer pale ale and a single hop series. They've done Brew 1, which I did yesterday, and it was this sort of delicious pineapple flavored, kind of watery, big head of stone fruits and things, and a little bit of tickle of spice that was really nice. And then Idaho 7 didn't even occur to me. Idaho 7 and Brew 1 are like, they're not listed. I don't think when you're brewing they're listed as substitutes for one another, but they're also almost exactly the same. So I don't know why that is, but they are late, whirlpool-y type of hop. They're not normally, the robust backbone of a beer. They're like this. They're like the thing that makes beer great. These are the kind of hops you put in there to elevate and the aroma. And so when you crack it open, it's wonderful. And then you back that up with like Citra or something like that, right? So it's interesting that they've gone single hop on these ones. Now, what I'm really curious is to see is how different they are, or if they're different at all. I mean, they have a very similar alpha acid. All the oils are like match up pretty close, but whereas Brew 1 is like known for stone fruit and pineapple and that kind of stuff, Idaho 7 is just, I think, more straight up citrusy. I think maybe I'm confusing this with another hop, but marmalade, that kind of, which I like. Marmalade as a beer flavor is a good characteristic because it's got a kind of a weird, funky, bitter bit of zestiness, right? Marmalade works. Something more like that. So I don't know if I'm going to get bowled over by that same pineapple thing, but let's try it, right? There it is. It's kind of sweaty. It's been out of the fridge for a bit. You can take a great look at it there. It's the same percentage. It's a 5.6. I believe it's just exactly the same recipe, right? So it should be near on identical. Well, that's the idea. What's the point of a comparison if what kind of science is this if we're not keeping all the ingredients the same and only changing one thing? We're scientific people. Pop that. I even expect like the color should be identical. I haven't seen it. Yesterday it was kind of this odd off yellow, and it looks exactly like that. So that's what we're thinking. Let's get the me out of the equation. Looks fizzy. I expected it yesterday to clarify. It didn't. So whether intentional or not, it's got a little bit of a haze to it, which is pretty nice. All right. Get back here. All right. Nice. All right. I said it wouldn't have pineapple, and I'm just full of crap. It smells like pineapple. It smells almost identical to yesterday's. No, one more. It's just killing me. I want to dive right in because well, my outdoor thermometer says it's 29 and it's in the shade. So I'm probably going to love this regardless. It's one of those. I cannot be uninfluenced by the weather. All right, let's try it. Oh, wow. Okay. So where yesterday's went across the palate and just was like gone, right? It was as if it had no bittering hop whatsoever. This isn't quite like that. This does last a little longer. Let's try one more. I gave yesterday's a pretty high review. If I were to, I'm gonna have to tweak this up a little bit because right away I like the fact that it's lasting longer. It does taste like definitely more citrusy, not like mandarin citrus. That's too nice, like too sweet, right? It's more like a big fat orange that you'd get. When I was a kid, we used to get these stupid oranges at the toe of like a Christmas stocking because my parents liked to do that tradition, but they didn't want to spend any money, so these things were cheap. But they were all right? The slightly drier big fat orange. That's what it's like. Give me one more go. It's weird. Yesterday we had mango, and that's where I didn't say mango, but more like peach. That's what I said. Peach on the nose, pineapple on the palate. Now I'm getting pineapple on the nose and citrus on the palate. Maybe that's the differentiator there. And holy moly, I actually have people watching. Clementine, good one. Pineapple. So I'm getting pineapple in my head, and a big fat orange, a bit of zest. And I agree with the marmalade, because that undercurrent of bitter is got to be definitely why people are saying marmalade, because the combination of the citrus with that, like when you eat a marmalade on toast and you get a little bit of zest, you're like, ooh. But I didn't like marmalade until I started liking beer. When I was a kid, I hated marmalade. That was garbage. But this is nice. This beats the Brew one. That's the long and short of it. I gave it an 8.5 yesterday. In this weather, with this beer as a pale, I'm going to bump this to a 9. It is 0.5 better than the Brew one, just because it doesn't just vanish. I would probably, if I had to do this in order, Brew one, hot day, crack that, just throw that back and enjoy it. And then open that one, sit outside and enjoy the sunshine, and take your time with this one. I think that's the big difference. Otherwise, I know I have another elements of scoring, like expectations and whatnot, but I'm gonna match it right up and say exactly the same what I said yesterday, right? 9s and 8s, essentially an 8.5 across the board. So it's only going to end up with a 0.5 edge, which is going to be like a 0.1 edge on Untappd. So watch yesterday's episode if you want to see what I think of the packaging and stuff, and I'll pop a link to that just up here now on YouTube when it's released afterwards. That's really good. Now, if you want, I want to see what they said about it. So let's do part 2 of this, where I tell you, where if you care, I explore a little bit about what they're telling the world about it. So I am here. Hold on, let me share. Mersey's asking, does it lose points for being less unique? I give it unique points. Anybody who does a single hop variety, I think that actually is unique, because that means there's an intentional experiment in the whole range. I like that. Less unique would be Citra Mosaic Simcoe Pale Ale, like whoopity doo, right? There's a bazillion of those. I mean, unless you're doing something magical with the malts, that's pretty boring. So I didn't share my screen. Oh, I didn't. That's because I didn't add to the stream. There we go. So here, Polly's Brew. If you don't know Polly's Brew, 2018, they've grown like in reputation and in style and in capability, like immensely. Like if you think 2015, 16 it feels like 90% of the craft beers on our radar came from that era. To come in late, it's like, that's pretty impressive. And yeah, for me as a security enthusiast, I like that it didn't auto load Facebook, so Facebook can track me. But nevertheless, Idaho 7. Here we go. Now it's saying a little bit of history of their experience with Idaho 7. That's also super cool. Favorite hops of 2021. Yeah. It's a really good hop. And when it shows up on beer blends, I am drawn to that. I think sometimes I did my thing on marketing, which I'll have to put another link up here. I didn't mention hops. I think to the craft beer enthusiast, making the hop varieties larger on the can, like, people don't do that. I think they should. So they're saying this beer is pure unadulterated pineapple juice, and I actually kind of disagree with that. It's definitely pineapple-y. It's pineapple in my head, but it's pineapple's juice is not bitter. This has a bitter associated with it, which is why I agree with the marmalade. But it's not pineapple. But yesterday's was unadulterated pineapple juice. This would match yesterday. Oh well. Anyway. Fine. Then let's kill that off. We don't need to see that anymore. And how do I do that? Like this. Boom. I'm still relearning how to do live. I like live. So there we go. I may not quite agree with their assessment of it, but as I've said several times, I think on this show in the past, my wife used to work for a brewery, and she wrote the tasting notes before the beer was released, because how else are you going to do it, right? The beer gets done, it goes. You write it based on what your objectives were, not what the result was. So who knows? I don't agree, but I think it's a great beer. I might mark them down on accuracy because of that, but nah, I'm not gonna do that. I want this to be higher on Untappd, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, so that is a great beer. If you can get it, and you still can, get all three directly from Polly's for $4.25. I think it was $4.25 we saw yesterday. Do it. Do your own review and stick some Polly's. What? Oh, hold on. I've got a comment. Well, yeah, it's going from there. Ooh, well, I like that. All right, that was worth the world seeing. Some of these comments, obviously, you don't need to see it. I forgot how cool it is to be live, because we get interaction. And thank you very much for watching Mersey Beers. I really appreciate your support. And with that said, I am going to head out of here and finish the rest of this, and maybe one or two others, who knows. I've got some really cool stuff behind me. If you have an opinion, before we close out. Oh, that's not it. There we go. 2 from Carnival. I haven't done Carnival, I don't think, on here. If you were to choose Raspberry Ripple IPA or We Are Diamonds, what would I do next? I'm excited by both of those, so it's win-win. All right. My name is Steve Giguere. Please subscribe and do all the things on YouTube. I always say that at the end, and statistically, I've looked at the stats on YouTube. Almost nobody watches this part unless it's live. More importantly, share. Share with your friends. Talk about beer, share videos, all that kind of stuff. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I'm BeerNative. Steve out.